Wait. Welcome to 805 Sports Talk. I'm Joe Bailey, and once again, we got a big show planned for you guys. We kind of pride ourselves on talking about the big stories every time we do a show, and the big story of this week has been the CIF Playoffs, and especially Righetti Baseball. They've already won 3 playoff games and have advanced to the Division III quarterfinals. They play at home Friday against Irvine Beckman, and on Tuesday I was there catching their second round game, and it was quite a performance. Matt Sauer, 9 strikeouts, 2-hitter complete game. He's thrown 15 innings so far in 3 playoff games. So, I think that's been the big story of this week, and we get to see a good quarterfinal game on Friday. I caught up with the guys after their win. Matt Sauer had a big game on the mound. Brian Tamuka has pulled all the right strings as a manager of that ball club, and kind of an unsung hero Tuesday was Tyler Hopp hit a 3-run home run in the first inning, and those were the only runs of the game. So I caught up with the guys and kind of learned how they felt about the performance.
How do you feel about this team doing what it needs to do to get to the quarterfinals?
Yeah, it's been, these guys they've started to play a lot better towards the end of the season. At one point, we were struggling to get in the playoffs, and so they've had their backs against the wall a lot during the season, and game after game, they come out and then win the big ones. And having Matt on the mound today, our chances were pretty good. We played a La Quinta team that I thought, took some pretty good swings. Matt just pitched a great game, and their guy they brought in too. He's probably one of the better guys that we've faced all year long, and playoff games, it just comes down to one big hit sometimes, and fortunately we got that today.
Any other things you want to say about Matt, the way he's done this whole playoff, the whole season? He's there whenever you guys need him. Where do you think that comes from with him, and just how important is he for you guys?
Yeah, no, he's been a great leader. Not only this year, last year, so it's really nothing new. I think, obviously he's pitched some big games for us, but it's everybody else too that, we played some pretty good defense today. You don't get this far with just one guy. It helps having a guy like him, no doubt, but it takes the rest of the guys too. And I thought towards the end of the season, this team's starting to come around, so just proud of these guys.
All right, what do you think was working for you today on the mound? You've been getting a lot of innings in. Today's a big game. What got you through it, and what do you think was working for you today on the mound?
I think just going in there and pounding the zone, just trusting my fastball and getting ahead in the count. And once you get ahead in the count, it's a lot easier to pitch. So that was big.
And you guys got an early lead from Tyler Hopp. What was it like pitching with the early lead like that, being up 3-0? How big was that? Was that for you guys?
The game's way more relaxed when you're pitching with a 3-run lead. It's a lot of times you have stressful innings until you get that one run ahead, but we had 3 runs, so it was relaxed out there.
All right, it's been a long season for you guys, and do you think this team's gotten a lot better? And how has it been working with your catcher Zach Anderson throughout a year? Do you think this team is much better?
Yeah, for sure.
When the season started,
there's a lot more team chemistry now. Everyone's binding together, and then my catcher back there, he's just calling a great game, and it's just me and him the whole game. So.
All right, quarterfinals are here. Do you think anyone can stop this team? Do you think you guys can keep it going? How do you feel about the future?
We're going all the way. We're confident. We got all the confidence in the world right now.
Well, just walk me through that plate appearance for you, where you got a home run. What were you thinking? Were you sitting, and what pitch did you get?
I got a fastball right down the middle, and I was just thinking I wanted to hit it and get on base, but I got lucky and went over the fence, and it was pretty cool.
Okay, well, what's that mean? That's the only runs of this game. You get up early, your hit carries the team to a win. How's that feel?
It feels great because I wanted to help my team out the whole game, and I'm glad I was able to contribute to our win.
Okay,
yeah.
With the team, with Matt being on the mound, what's it like when this team gets a 3-0 lead or a 2-run lead? Are you guys pretty confident that that's enough for you guys when Matt's on the mound?
Yeah, it gives you a lot of confidence because then it just helps everybody else perform better, and they don't feel like they're under as much pressure to make errors. So it's pretty good.
Okay, so you guys are in the quarterfinals on Friday. You think this team can keep it going? How do you think this team will do? As the playoffs move along, you think this team's ready for that?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I think we can do some damage. So.
All right, so the thing with the Righetti Baseball has been Matt Sauer getting a lot of attention, but the cool thing in Tuesday's second round win was other players stepping up. Seth Allis has been great, providing offense, John Leron, and as we saw Tuesday with Tyler Hopp hitting a 3-run home run. Matt Sauer does get a lot of the attention, but I think it's really been a team effort. And Brian Tomoka, the coach, really kind of drives that home that it's not about Matt Sauer or one pitcher. It's really about the team. And we'll find out on Friday because Phil Almanza will definitely get some innings, and they're going to need a team effort to beat Beckman, who's probably one of the top 30 or so teams in Southern California or the state. So it's going to be real interesting to see that matchup. Jacob, I know you got some CIF playoff action on Tuesday as well with Cabrillo Baseball being eliminated in that second round. Can you kind of walk us through what happened there?
Yeah, there was a lot of playoff action at Cabrillo High that day. Baseball and softball were hosting. Cabrillo Baseball, I have to say, it was probably one of the more frustrating days to be a Cabrillo Baseball player and fan. It was such a great season that they had, and they lost to Paraclete 3-0. The number that really stands out is 12. Cabrillo stranded 12 runners in the loss to Paraclete, and they had kind of shown that issue when they beat Baldwin Park in the first round. That victory included Philip Martin going a complete game, one hitter against the visiting Braves, and the Conks won 6-2, but in that game they stranded a lot of runners on base. And Coach Osborne talked about how they needed to take advantage of chances to score. Dylan Maiden, their star leadoff hitter, said, "We can't miss those chances." A couple of days later, 12 guys on base against Paraclete. They are not able to get any across. Meanwhile, Paraclete has 3 runs scored on 3 different 2-out hits, and the very next Paraclete batter in each situation was the 3rd out of the inning. You can't be closer to holding a team scoreless and lose 3-0 than what happened to Cabrillo Baseball that day. And because softball was playing at the same time at home, within a few minutes of each other, both seasons were over. Softball lost 4-1 to visiting Louisville High. It was a very tough day for the Cabrillo batters. They struck out 17 times, and it seemed to be an approach issue. They seemed to kind of, as Coach Adrian Abiari pointed out, kind of in panic mode when they went down after a big 3-run home run by Peyton Anton of Louisville High. They just went up there swinging and were just trying to claw back as quickly as possible rather than really methodically, and it cost them. And meanwhile, Lompoc Softball went to St. Monica in Santa Monica and came back with 11-5 win, and they made the quarterfinals. And it's just been an amazing season for the Lompoc Braves softball team. They won league for the first time in 12 years. They just seem to push a lot of the right buttons when they need it. They're led by seniors Olivia Gutierrez and Riley Sager, and the offense, has just really been key in that Cheyenne will get on base, Cheyenne Marmolejo, they'll move her along, Riley will bring them in, and they've really developed, though, throughout the whole lineup, getting stronger and stronger. That's been fun to watch. Lompoc Baseball was eliminated by Village Christian in a really tough game. They lost 6-5. Village Christian walked off with the win in the bottom of the 7th after Lompoc rallied to tie 5-5. Really an outstanding season for the Braves baseball team when you consider how young a group they are and how they started slow. They gave themselves an opportunity to win 2 games in playoffs after they opened with a wild card win over visiting Azusa. So we're down to 1 CIF playoff team left in the Valley, Lompoc Valley, and that's Lompoc Softball. A great season of baseball and softball by Cabrillo, and Lompoc Baseball promises to be even better next season. And that was CIF playoffs for me, but there's been a lot of other postseason action in the area, and Kenny was able to cover track, and he can talk to you guys about what he was able to see from the area athletes.
I was down in Norwalk at Cerritos College last Saturday. I always enjoy covering the CIF Southern Section Track and Field Divisional Finals. I believe the caliber of competition at that meet is actually of a higher quality than many states' state meets. There was one CIF Divisional champion from the area. Santa Ynez sophomore Elnie Emily Donahue, Eddie Shagoya in Arroyo Grande Jr., his season continued. He qualified for the Masters in the boys shot put. Emily ran a very good race. She doesn't have blazing finishing speed from what I've seen, but what she is very good at is holding a good hard pace for several laps and then finishing with a pretty fast last lap. Now, the St. Joseph boys 4x1 relay team had lowered their time each of the previous meets. They were not able to do so this time, but they did finish higher than their seeding. I believe they were seeded 6th, and they finished 4th. Meanwhile, Eddie threw a career best 5.9 and a quarter in the shot put. So a good time to have a personal best there, an exciting time for him as he qualifies for the Masters. There were some other area competitors who qualified for the Masters. Erica Schroeder, a San Marcos junior, defending girls state 800 championship, is back at the Masters. She qualified 3rd in that event. Natasha Veschbach, a Santa Barbara senior, qualified 4th in 2 events, the 100 hurdles and the girls long jump. A runner who does seem to utilize a very big last lap, Callum Bolger of San Luis Obispo, was the top qualifier for the Masters meet in the boys 3200. And now Elliot will take us through some other topics. I believe the rodeo you would like to talk about.
Yeah, we also have Santa Ynez Beach, Shadow Hills, and they'll be hosting Woodcrest Christian, and that game is a Thursday game as opposed to Friday when Righetti's playing, so they've changed the schedule. But then next week, all eyes will be on the rodeo here in Santa Maria. It's the 73rd annual Santa Maria Elks Rodeo and Parade. It kicks off Thursday morning with the Minetti Mini Rodeo, where the youngsters will take the arena and will go for their buckle runs in front of a packed house of elementary school kids from all throughout the area. And then Thursday night, the 73rd annual PRCA WPRA Rodeo kicks off at 7 o'clock. Friday will be a first. The rodeo will be back at 7 o'clock, but before the rodeo at 6:30, 805 Sports Talk will be going live from the Rodeo Arena. We'll do a half-an-hour preview show of that night and of what's going on through the arena with all the different activities, because it's a jam-packed 4-day weekend. And then Sunday is the championship Sunday, and none of the championships are decided early. Everything will come down to that Sunday. Now, some of the events, like your bull riding and saddle bronc riding and bareback riding, everybody gets one run, and somebody could post a high score Thursday night that holds up through Sunday, but you won't know until Sunday's action is complete, and that'll be somewhere around 5 o'clock, and we will be back on the air live Sunday at 5 o'clock to have a wrap-up show with highlights and interviews both days. So we'll be live for 2 days at the rodeo with 805 Sports Talk, and we hope you'll be able to join us then. And remember, this is considered one of the finest rodeos in California. The WPRA, the Women's Professional Rodeo Association, awarded Santa Maria's Elks Rodeo the top honors for medium-sized rodeos, and medium size is reflects the purses that the competitors win. So they are the defending championship medium-sized rodeo on the WPRA, and all the rodeo competitors will tell you year after year after year that they love coming to Santa Maria because this is one of the best rodeos that they go to outside of the big championship at the end of the year, the National Finals Rodeo in Las Vegas. So we want you to join us. You know, if you can't get out, or even if you can get out for the action, you can still join us live at 6:30 Friday night, June 3rd, and then again at 5 o'clock Sunday, June 5th, live 805 Sports Talk right here at SantaMariaTimes.com. Joe?
Yeah, so I'm sure everybody's getting excited about the rodeo coming up, but and looking at a national scale, a lot of people have been excited about the NBA playoffs. We've been talking about it quite a bit. So we know you guys might be tired of hearing about it, but we definitely have some important takes on it. At least we feel it's important. And we'll start with Draymond Green and what happened this week. I feel that was the kick heard around the world. Some people might not think it was a kick. Draymond said it wasn't intentional. Steven Adams probably feels it was intentional.
Yeah.
So I think the big thing with this is that it kind of changed the public perception of the Warriors. Everybody loved the Warriors, Steph Curry, Draymond Green all year. And when the news broke that he wasn't getting suspended for the kick, just fined, it seemed like everybody jumped off the Warriors bandwagon at that point. So, following on Twitter and maybe ESPN or online in general, a lot of people suddenly dislike the Warriors now. So it was kind of strange to see that play out and Draymond go through that, not get suspended, and see the public perception change like that. It's so swift and it's so strange to see something go like that. So I don't know what you guys think about that and the situation with the Warriors, and see if they can survive against the Thunder.
Well, there's some sentiment that it was intentional, although Draymond Green will tell you that that's a regular way he shoots the basketball. When he goes up for the basket, one of his legs go out. Intentional or not, what it did do, in my opinion, is that kick started Oklahoma City. They have been unstoppable since then, and 73 wins will go right down the drain if the Warriors don't come back and win this series. A couple of years ago, 2007, the Patriots had a undefeated season going into the Super Bowl, and they lost to the Giants, and it was like the whole season was a waste. And that's what's going to happen to the Warriors. And they got the old cliche, backs to the wall. All those win or go home cliches are on the line for them, and there's no guarantees that they're going to be able to bounce back from this. They say, they're not afraid, they're going to bounce back, there's plenty of basketball left, but Oklahoma City's got to be feeling really good right now. And I tell you that these conference finals, the East and the West, are shaping up to be really dramatic series. They're not going the way anybody thought. Cleveland won 10 straight, then they lost 2 straight. Toronto's now feeling really good about its chances. Oklahoma City's feeling like it's ready to go to the finals. And I don't think that Draymond Green kick did the Warriors any good. The team that's got the bounce from that has been the Thunder.
Well, Green sounded sincere to me in his apology, but he is looked upon as a multiple offender. And yes, while it may be true that he naturally kicks his leg out as a natural motion as he's going up for a shot, it looks like the kick is finished when the ball is already out of his hand. And I think at the very least he bears watching on the NBA higher ups' radar. But the much bigger problem seems to be the Warriors can't get a consistent stop on defense against the Thunder. Not only did the Thunder take them twice, they ran them out of the gym. I've watched Golden State play a few times, and for all the raving about how good they are, and they did earn their regular season record, when it goes bad, they can't seem to stop much of anything on defense. If the other team's not getting into the lane and scoring on the first try in the possession, they're scoring on the second try in the possession or the third try in the possession, and Golden State can't seem to force many teams when it's going bad for them on defense into many empty possessions. Jacob, I know you've got some thoughts on that.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's an element of not very surprising, things about all of this. One, that something would go wrong with the Warriors. 2, that Green would be part of the issue if it was kind of a non-basketball play problem. 3, least surprising thing, the NBA didn't do anything to Green. And 4, the fact that Oklahoma City is the team and not the Spurs to be doing this. maybe it was surprising to some people, but I don't think it really was that surprising that Oklahoma City built themselves into being the top challenger. I know people in Oklahoma won't like hearing this, but this has a little bit of a feel of, to borrow a term from Elliott, the last rodeo of Westbrook and Durant. I mean, what better way to go out and part ways as a dominant duo than to win an NBA title? And I think they're well on their way to doing it.
Yeah. Well, and they're showing the leadership that's been lacking with that team. They haven't been able to get over the hump. Of course, they've had injuries to overcome, and guys like Steven Adams has really been a valuable player, and he's keeping the bigs from the Warriors from having much of a positive effect for their team. But I agree with Kenny. I don't see the Warriors' defense out there, and if they're not nailing those threes, if Curry's not scoring 30-plus points and Klay Thompson isn't right behind him around 25 or 28, they seem to be in big trouble. And yet they breeze through the regular season, but they're not the only team. You know, Seattle a few years ago had a team before they became Oklahoma City that breezed through the regular season, won something like 63 games, and fizzled badly in the playoffs. So it's not unheard of, but it is surprising that Oklahoma City is manhandling them so badly. After that first game, it's been all downhill for the Warriors.
I don't think there are a lot of happy TV executives out there right now outside of the Oklahoma City and Toronto markets with the way things have developed lately. I don't think an Oklahoma City-Toronto matchup for the title is what a lot of them think that would be great for the ratings.
And Toronto's maturing right before the TV cameras, and the youngsters are playing dead even now after 4 games with LeBron and Kyrie Irving, and DeMar DeRozan is looking great. They're really giving the Cavaliers all they can handle in this series. So, yeah, I think Kenny's right. The TV executives are not looking forward to Toronto-Oklahoma City matchup. You don't have LeBron James, you don't have Steph Curry and all the other all-stars, Kyrie Irving and Klay Thompson and those guys. Boy, they're probably sweating this one out right now.
Yeah, I went from a magical dream scenario of having the Warriors versus Spurs in the Western Conference Finals, and hopefully one of those teams meeting LeBron James and the Cavs in the finals, and to what we have now, where it could be, you know, the Thunder versus the Raptors in the finals. I don't think many people, you know, that's just not a very appealing matchup to me, and I think most people would agree that, you know, from what you could have had to what is almost a likely scenario now, it's just crazy how it changes so swiftly, so drastically like that. Just a couple games, you have that. So it's crazy.
I think it just kind of shows one other thing is, and I know the Spurs bowed out to the Thunder, but the NBA's regular season may be one of the most overrated in all of pro sports. And the reason, and there's 2 pieces of evidence for that. I mean, you get to watch a lot of good basketball when you have 82 regular season games, but think of how Popovich has always treated the regular season with the Spurs as completely secondary to how well his team plays in the playoffs, which lasts 2 months or something like that. Meanwhile, the Warriors make this mad dash to the record, and it's an amazing accomplishment, but it was an 82-game sprint that pales in comparison to the second sprint that you have to win. And it didn't work this postseason for the Spurs, but the Spurs have always approached it correctly, which is, who cares how many games we win in the regular season? And I think people are maybe being reminded about that a little bit.
82 games, even for a seasoned professional, of how well they condition themselves and mentally and physically, that's a lot of demands on a person with all the travel time and the workouts and competing at that high level of intensity. 82 games, that's a grind.
Not all the teams.
About 3/4 of a year.
Not all the teams competed at that high level of intensity. You said there's some spectacular basketball. There are many who think that all you have to do is tune into the last 2 minutes of an NBA game to watch spectacular basketball, and the beginning is reasonably irrelevant. And then, as luck would have it, the Lakers and 76ers have really fallen on hard times, and everybody else looks at that's like a night off. I mean, you can put the junior varsity in to play against them and give your stars, play them a quarter, a half, and then let the subs get some valuable experience that they're going to need in the playoffs. It's not always spectacular basketball.
But still, an 82-game season is an 82-game regular season.
Yeah, and
it's awfully long.
And it could be for nothing. You see these guys that bow out in the first round, the second round. Now we're supposed to be to the best of the best in these final four teams. And in the East, it looks like Toronto is rounding into shape and surprising Cleveland. In the West, where did the Warriors go? Could be summer vacation pretty soon.
You know, with all the talk about Golden State and how this could be the last rodeo for San Antonio, I wonder how much Oklahoma City was saying, hello, we're out here too. We're not exactly neophytes. We've been around in this, and suddenly they've struck up 3-1, and I think it's going to be a very hard road for Golden State to overtake the Thunder this time.
Especially since they have at least, if they can win at home, they have to go back to Oklahoma City, and they'll have that Oklahoma City crowd against them. So it's going to be tough for them to get past Game 6 if they can get that far. And you know, we're about done, but we shouldn't neglect San Jose. You know, there are people that actually like hockey. In parts of this country, they're rabid hockey fans, and yet in sunny California, San Jose could be in their first Stanley Cup final, and that will be known by this weekend one way or the other. But they've got the series lead over St. Louis, and they could be hoisting the Stanley Cup up in San Jose in just a couple of weeks. So, you know, we love it when we're journalists, so we're neutral on the games, but we do love it when we can put California teams winning championships on our front page rather than East Coast teams or Southern teams. It's more of our readers, our fans of the teams from LA, San Francisco, San Jose, San Diego, than they are of teams, you know, from Miami or Atlanta, although each of those cities has its fans. But so we'd love to see San Jose move along in the Stanley Cup just for our own selfish purposes of getting them on the front page, hoisting that cup. But they're still alive, and they're on the brink, they think, of their first ever Stanley Cup.
Actually, I think it was a big lift for them when they got past the Kings early. After that collapse against them after they were up 3-0 last year. I just wonder how much it was lurking in the back of their minds, but they were able to get over the hurdle this time.
Yeah, vindication to finally get over that hump, because they'd been playoff failures, great regular seasons. You know, we're talking about the Warriors. They were similar, although they didn't run up records, but great regular seasons and then fizzle in the playoffs. This time around, maybe they'll have some punch and they won't go flat like stale soda.
Yeah, vindication, plus they got past the people that had gotten them out last year.
Yeah.
All right. As you can tell, we love talking about the playoffs. This is our favorite time of the year. NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, and the CIF playoffs. So make sure you tune in to our next episode of 805 Sports Talk. We'll be at the Rodeo once again, and you know, make sure to check us out during this week. We'll be talking about the other Warriors at Righetti as they have their quarterfinal game on Friday, and a lot of other topics. Elliot, I know you're really excited to do the Rodeo show next week, so make sure you tune in for that, and thanks for watching once again.
And make sure you follow us in print and online. We will keep you up to date on all of the playoff action, especially of Righetti, Santa Ynez High School baseball, and Lompoc softball, as they hope to continue towards CIF Southern Section championships and, of course, the pro playoffs. It'll all be in your Santa Maria Times, online and in print, so join us every day for that. And, of course, next time we'll see you here on 805 Sports Talk. So thank you all for joining us, and goodbye.
There you go.
Okay, thanks.
Wanted to get a plug in.